Data Privacy Day is January 28th, a great time to raise awareness about data privacy and protection. However, the real work of protecting your data is a year-round effort. I'm Maggie Miller, and for some best practices on protecting your data, we have with us Oliver Cronk. He is Tanium's Chief IT Architect in EMEA, so welcome, Oliver.
Thanks, Maggie. Great to be here.
So data is everywhere, especially with people working from home right now. So how has that increased the complexity of data protection?
Yeah, no, thanks, Maggie. I think it's increased it in a number of ways, really. A lot of organizations have geared up their data protection and their privacy compliance around being on premise. So systems that were monitoring what employees were doing when they were in the workplace. And of course, that's changed now. Not everyone is in the workplace. People are going in and out of the workplace, working from home. And some of those controls and technical solutions that work really well in the office or reasonably effective in the office are now not as effective, either because people aren't there or because perhaps people are having to bypass them. I think there's also challenges with using things like VPNs, so virtual private networks, to get into the remote office. Um, you know, Challenges with that mean that people have to start doing workarounds. Often the VPNs are very slow. People start having to copy data locally onto their machines. Now that's often a big no-no because you're then copying that sensitive, personal information onto local computers, which is then starting to get uncontrolled or less controlled than when it's in the big enterprise systems. So for me, there are a number of challenges there. And I think many organizations have invested their privacy and compliance efforts on the big enterprise systems, the ERP, the big databases. But unfortunately, a lot of that is being undermined now by the fact that people potentially are copying data onto their local machines.
So what can organizations do to protect their sensitive information and data?
Yeah, Maggie, so I think clearly this is a layered sort of approach. And with all these things, it's a combination of people, process and technology, I think. And as I said just now, that there's been a lot of focus on data loss prevention technologies, the DLP technologies you'll hear people talking about. And they're great, but they have a few weaknesses. The first one I would highlight is they really rely on people classifying, your employees classifying documents into, say, confidential, into private, into public. And unfortunately, as much as we can try and get employees to do that, folks will often overlook that. And so the data loss prevention technology typically only works when it's looking for the sensitive information in that way. The other thing, as I talked about earlier, is that data is getting copied to places that perhaps it was never really intended to be copied. So organizations need to be thinking about where data ends up. They may never imagine that data might end up in places that it does. So what are they going to do to kind of get visibility of that? And so at Tanium, one of the fantastic things we have in our kit bag is the reveal module. And the reveal module is great because it lets you look for sensitive information or commercial information across the endpoint estate at scale. And it's not reliant on people classifying documents or information. It just looks for the patterns of sensitive information. So, that's why, I'm kind of passionate about making sure people think about this holistically, not just thinking about the kind of big database systems.
What makes Tanium so unique in solving these data privacy and protection challenges?
So as an architect, one of the things I get really excited about is how amazing the Tanium architecture is, right? So Tanium, not only helps you manage the endpoints that you've deployed Tanium to, but it also lets you see other endpoints that are out there in the environment that perhaps you weren't aware of. Perhaps they're legacy endpoints or new endpoints that have been added to the environment that haven't been managed properly. So we're able to sort of see that extent of the endpoint challenge. But then also, once we are managing an endpoint, the breadth and depth of things that we can do there. And as I just touched on earlier with Reveal, the fact we can see the data that's sitting on that endpoint at scale, within seconds, we can go and find across thousands, hundreds of thousands of machines where there is sensitive personal information across the entire estate. That's really unique. And that's a testament to the power of the Tanium architecture, the ability to kind of, take control and get visibility at scale. And that's really only possible through the investment that Tanium made in the research and development and creating a new architectural approach to solve the problem.
Great. Well, Oliver, thank you so much for your time. I know you will be out there talking a lot on data privacy and protection on January 28th. And for people out there who want to learn more about Tanium and how it can help with data privacy and protection, you can go to tanium.com. From there, you can actually sign up for a 2-week trial, free trial of Tanium to test it out for yourself. So again, thank you, Oliver, and thank you all for watching.